Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. We are back in effect on the Shootaround, ladies and gentlemen. After last night's debacle of a game, the Knicks got smacked by the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, we lost by more than 30 points, and it probably could have been worse than that if they really wanted to. Terrible game by the Knicks last night, and I see all kind of blame going around to everybody. Of course, the number one villain, Payton, is catching it by Knicks Twitter all over the place. Like he was the only guy that played bad. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Well, actually, it is here because it happens every single game. Not saying the guy is a perfect player, but geez, pretty sure Payton wasn't going to change that 30-point debacle that we put on the floor last night. I can tell you that right there. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the NBA trade rumor mill, what the Knicks might be doing at the trade deadline. We'll talk about the commercial media trying to smack the Knicks over this whole Patrick Ewing thing. We'll talk about that a little bit. And whatever else comes to mind, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get to it. We got a crew here. We got Cornerstone Kev in the building. We got Andy in the building. We got Big Bubba Guyana in the building. Chop Lowers in the building. We got them all here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's, and now we got Nate entering the building. So let's go ahead and get busy. Talk to the crew. Reflect on last night's game. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and do this, man. Cornerstone. What's poppin' with you, my brother? How you feel?
Hey, nothing too much. Salute to the chat. Salute to my brothers here on the panel. Andy, Big Bubba, American. Oh, forget it. Never mind. Chop and Nate. Yeah, he changed his name, so I couldn't call him what he was before. But yeah, I was driving home. I was coming back from. I was actually in Isaiah's neck of the woods. I was in Connecticut, driving back home. So I really didn't get a chance to see the game. I listened to it, and from me listening to it, it was great in the beginning, but then they put the smackdown on us, and that's all I can, really say. I think it was one of those games that they probably circled on, after we blew them out, they probably circled that game, said, yeah, we're going to, take care of business. Even if it is after the All-Star game, we're going to make sure that everybody's clicking on all cylinders so that we can put the smackdown. And that's exactly what they did. But in fairness, we didn't have Mitch. We didn't have Rose, so we were kind of down right there. But I thought we could have made it at least a little bit more closer than what it was, and they were not going to let that happen. So that's it.
Yeah. And just to be clear, that's not Isaiah's neck of the woods. He just lives there. It's clearly other people's neck of the woods.
Okay.
He's pretty low.
Yes.
He's pretty low on the totem pole. I'll say that. Anyway, Andy, what's going on, man? What's going on, Andy?
Yeah, I'm happy to see Isaiah back. So, Big Bubba, I got your back, bro. Nice tan. I'm happy you got, a little bit of sunshine there. So, yeah, like I've said, we could have at least saw that game a little bit more competitive. But games like this are going to happen. And it wasn't only one player to blame on our side. And if it was, it definitely wasn't, Elfrid Payton as the main guy, as far as I saw it. But, we're probably going to dig into that, a little bit later on. You hate these kind of games, but they happen every season for every team. No energy, right. Rust, whatever you want to call it. It was just a one-sided game. And this if you would watch it, without the logos and players running around, like on the backyard, you wouldn't call this an NBA game. So two teams, not competitive game. So
yeah, and
that's too bad for the NBA.
I didn't feel good about the game from the beginning when they first started. The first about 5 minutes of the game, neither team looked like they were really playing hard. Both teams. Yeah. And I felt like for the Knicks, that was going to lull them into just not playing hard. And that seems like that's what happened because the Knicks went up about 4 points. Milwaukee called a timeout, and all of a sudden they came out and they started playing hard. And the Knicks were like, uh-oh. And they never got into the groove of the game and got smacked.
Yeah, and after Brook Lopez, made that tip in and hit that three and was like throwing threes, like making heat checks. I was like, okay, this is done, bro. This is like game over in the fourth quarter, basically. So,
yeah. And real quick, I just want to ask y'all a question since I didn't see it. Did it seem like the strategy that Tibbs was using as far as putting up the so-called wall, was that slowing him down? Slowing Giannis down, or early was it like
I got my theory to that thing, but I'm gonna say the offline we're gonna notice it, and then like in 3-4 shows we're gonna point it out probably. But I'm gonna leave it for off topic so I don't get all the hate.
Right.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Was it really slowing Giannis down? I think the entire team is used to it by now. Right, so they've game planned for how to deal with teams that put up this wall and where people need to put themselves so that they can get open 3-point shots, and that's what they were doing. And then once they start knocking down threes, now it's like, okay, well, we got to chill out with the wall, and then Giannis just goes for broke. So it's tough. Now, if they're not hitting threes, then they could be in trouble.
Yeah, and who's this guy Forbes? I've never heard of him.
Brian
I never heard
Forbes?
him. I heard he lit us up for 20. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I think he was playing for the Pelicans for the Nuggets, right?
Okay,
it was one of those teams.
Yeah,
I see names shaking his head. He said no. And I can't hear him because he's muted.
Yeah.
So okay,
I'm not exactly sure who he was playing for. We'll get to Nate. He can respond. Go ahead, Big Bubba.
Hey, listen, it feels good to be home. It's great, man. Kev, I don't know why you're laughing, Kev, man.
You know why? Because you look like Skillet from Sanford Center. It's probably before your time, but that's who you look like, Skillet.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, see that? No, not Skillet. Lucky Leroy, but I'll throw a picture of him in a minute.
I was out the country for 2 weeks, man. It was so good. Food was great. People were great. I told Andy, I felt bad because I lied to Andy. I told him I was coming right from there to Poland, but listen, the money got a little low, man.
I don't think Andy was that worried about it for real. But you can go ahead with your take.
I didn't fall for the joke, Isaiah. I didn't fall for the joke.
Nah, man, but it's good to be back, man. It's good to be back with my guys, man. Shout out to everybody here. But listen, I think I'm gonna be the bad guy today. Because
whenever you never.
Man, because look, right, Alfred Payton, man, that dude gotta go. Super trash. I know Sim's looking.
My thing is, it's just the laziest, dumbest take that I ever hear from every Knicks fan. No, hold up. Every time we lose a game, that's what they go to. No one had a damn thing to say when he came back and dropped 20 points. To help the Knicks.
I got something to say about that.
Hold up. No one had anything to say about that. Nobody remembers that he scored 27 to help us blow out the Bucks. Every time the Knicks play a bad game, that's their go-to, instead of actually analyzing and breaking down the basketball game. I don't even care. Go ahead. Say what you got to say. It don't even matter. Because to me, it's just the dumbest, laziest take that you can say. It's the dumbest, laziest take that anybody can say to blame a 30-point loss on one player. To say that one player caused a 30-point loss, that's dumb. But go ahead.
Goddamn, Cap.
I'm just saying it's dumb. If you don't like the way he played, cool. But to blame the loss on one player, a 30-point loss on one player, when your best player had 7 points.
Did I say it was on Alfred Payton fully? Did I say it was? So
why try to spotlight Alfred Payton like it's his fault?
Hold on, because there's other people. Because I'm gonna get on Alfred Payton and Reggie Bullock too. Because both of them are trash. They've been trash. I've been saying they trash. And there's a lot. I got a lot of points today that definitely back up Alfred Payton being trash. Because I'm tired of Knicks fans like you who defend Elfrid Payton when he stinks.
I'm not defending him when he stinks. I did not say he had a good game. What I'm saying is every time the Knicks lose, no matter what happens, they put it on Elfrid Payton. And it's the laziest take ever. It is the laziest take ever. You know what I'm saying? So, like, right now, I clearly see that you have no other analysis to the basketball game as to why the Knicks lost. You know what I'm saying? So, it's no point in even hearing what you got to say. I'll go to Nate and let you think of a real good analysis, because I only came around to get people to give their quick 30-second assessment, and we're already going on 5 minutes with you. Go ahead, Nate. We're waiting for you to unmute your phone, man.
Yeah. Gotta mute your phone.
And it looks like he froze up. Let's see if Big Bubba has a better, a more complete assessment than just one thing, unless Nate is ready. Nate, you there?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Okay, so here's the deal. It was an embarrassing loss last night. The Knicks looked like they had no juice. And here's the reality. Bad teams, when you play Randle, they hope that the guy doesn't go off. They don't really have the game plan. They just kind of go with it. Good teams scheme against a good player like Randle. And that's exactly what they did. They put size and length on Randle and made him uncomfortable. It's almost behooves me how they haven't done that more with Randle this season. I'm afraid that we're going to see a lot more of that with Randle. And the reality is this team needs another scorer. I don't think Barrett is ready to be a consistent scorer, because he still has games where he doesn't score well. But he's getting better. And he is definitely one of the guys that we want to build around. But we need another scorer on this team, because they're going to take Randle away. I guarantee you, this is not the last time we'll see Randle frustrated and flustered and all this. They're going to start doing that more and more, and the Knicks are going to have to make a move. And Brian Forbes is on the Spurs, by the way.
Spurs, okay.
He was on the Spurs. Okay.
Spurs, okay.
I mean, we're talking about making a move. I don't know, from reports that we hear today, the Knicks aren't going to make that much of a move. The one thing I will say is this. Derrick Rose does a much better job finding Julius Randle in spaces to help him score easier than Elfrid Payton does. So the Knicks are definitely missing. It's crazy how Derrick Rose has become such an integral part of this team over the 10 days that he's been here. But the leadership that he provides, the way that he can find, like I said, Julius Randle in space is going to help Julius Randle to score easier. Would it have helped last night? Who's to say? They put a lot of length on Julius Randle anytime he got the ball. They kind of did the same thing that we were trying to do to Giannis. They kind of did the same thing to Julius Randle, right? Anytime he got the ball, they crowded him up, right? And then, say, okay, kick it out, and let's see if you got three-point shooters that can knock down shots. And a lot of the times when he did try to kick it out, they were playing the passing lanes well. 5 turnovers for Julius Randle last night. So Derrick Rose is definitely necessary for this team to help get Julius Randle in space, I think. So that he can get easier shots and not have to
also
fight.
He's a threat, too, to score.
He's a threat to score, definitely. But not have to fight through, 3, 4, 5 defenders crowding around him, where you can run a little pick and pop and maybe get him a quick jump shot, just boom, boom, and he gets the shot off. You know what I'm saying? Some things like that. So I think that's definitely an area that is going to be of need as we're fighting down the stretch. But last night, when you look that second quarter, early in the first quarter, midway through the first quarter, we quickly went down by 8-10 points. We tried to make a little bit of a run in that second quarter. And then, boom, it exploded again. When our second unit played better than their second unit. Right? But once the starters got back in the game for both squads, our starters couldn't handle their starters. And then next thing you know, we're down 16, 17 points at halftime. And then you get to the third quarter and all of that, and there it goes. So let's see if Big Bubba has, a more fluid, a more intelligent assessment of last night's game. Big Bubba, go ahead, man. And now he's frozen.
Now he's frozen.
You see what I'm saying? With these kind of, you see what I'm saying with these kind of guys, Kev?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
You can't rely on them. You can't rely on these kind of people.
You can't. You
can't rely on these kind of people. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough thing to deal with. So I don't know. We'll see.
But I'm going to say this: when it is Randle, when I'll say about 75% of your points are coming from Randle, if he's having a bad game like that, I don't think it's any question that you're not going to win the game. That's my opinion, because we count on him for so much production, from points, rebounds, and assists. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. And he only scored 7 points. We're not going to win very many games with him doing that. Not until we see RJ, average double than what he's doing now. So,
I mean,
that's the way I look at it.
RJ played well and scored. I mean, he scored 22 points last night. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying is, okay, in a game like last night, if he would have went for like career highs, let's say 35 or 40, even though we probably still wouldn't have won a game and everything, but I think it would have been a lot closer. But again, that's only if Randle is having the game that he was having last night.
Right,
so,
right. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't from listening to it. I wasn't mad at RJ at all. He took great shots. He was 1 for 2 from 3, I think he was, or 1 for 3 from 3. I don't know, but he looks more confident when he's shooting now. He looks more relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, RJ. Listen, RJ. He was his shot was flowing last night.
Yeah.
He picked his spots well last night. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely nothing to complain about with RJ last night. Nothing to complain about at all with RJ.
Right.
We just need, it's going to be hard for the Knicks to win when Randle, was having the kind of game that he had last night. It's going to be hard for the Knicks to win.
Right.
But let me get to.
That's what I'm saying. If it's anybody else, we'll probably win the game. If it's Randle, we're probably not.
Right. It's going to be tough. I mean, we've had some games where he's played, not scored a lot of points, but somebody else was hot. You know what I mean? Or we were playing a team that, just wasn't going to be up to par. But last night we just got suffocated. Let's put it like that. We got suffocated by.
Yes.
We got suffocated last night. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Big Bubba.
Yeah,
man.
they was on a mission.
Yeah.
Ken, shut up, please. Ken, shut up. So here's my issue with you, Sid.
Yo, just either come with your analysis or not. We don't need all the extracurricular activity.
No, because you mute me every time I bring up Payton.
Bro, either I'm gonna mute you again. Either come with what you got to say or not, or it's a done deal.
Let me say this. On really talk real talk on a serious note, right? When people talk about Payton and Bullock, right? Because it's going around because these two are just not starting caliber players. And it really hurts the team when we have these guys out there and they just don't give us what they need. I literally seen Reggie Bullock 2 possessions in a row on defense give up 6 points, one on a 3-point fouling shot, and then one with an and one where Giannis is running to the rim. Like, what are we talking about? And then Payton, who shot 3 for 14 or whatever, took 14 shots. He can't shoot. He can't do nothing. And then you wonder why we got blown out. You wonder why things happen. I'm not just basing them off the points. I'm basing them off the style of play that they play. It hasn't been good all year. And their defense, the defense, okay, Elfrid Payton I won't sit here and say Elfrid Payton hasn't had good defense because he has good defense. But it's just, these two are just not starting caliber players. And then it hurts us. And then people get mad, we get blown out by stuff like this when you see what they do this whole year. So, like, people like,
But see, the problem with this entire argument is that this is not something that we did not know. We know that that there are better players than Reggie Bullock. We know that there are better players than Elfrid Payton. These are the players we have on the team. So what is your analysis of the game? This is what I'm trying to get to. What is the analysis of the game? We understand this about these players. There's a reason that Tom Thibodeau has them starting. They've started to help us get to 19 wins. They've been starting this entire time. Elfrid Payton didn't start 3 games. But they've been starting to help us get to 19 wins. So what else? What other analysis? I'm looking for more. That's what I'm looking for, because these are things that we already know. We've been over that. And still, those 2 players are not the sole reason we lost last night.
No, it was a team effort.
It was a team effort besides RJ Barrett.
So that's why I don't get why we spotlight 2 guys. Because, Reggie Bullock was 2 for 6. Julius Randle was 3 for.
It's been an issue this whole year.
Hold up. Julius Randle was 3 for 11. All right.
You got
Emmanuel Quigley was 3 for 10.
But right, we're talking about the 19 wins. We also got 19 losses, which I'm not just saying.
We understand that we are a 500 team. A 500 team does not have the best talent in the world. That's what we understand.
Forecast was we were supposed to be 500. That's the other thing.
Right.
So I think we've done pretty good for right now. Just got to keep building.
I mean, we understand. We are a 500 team. A 500 team, a lot of 500 teams have bench players playing starters' roles. Because you're a 500 team. That's why it just kills me when people want to just put it on certain people. It just doesn't make sense to me. This was an entire team effort. We lost by okay, you know what? How about this? If you would have played Kevin Knox over Reggie Bullock last night and you would have started Frank Ntilikina, would the results have been different?
Maybe Frank Ntilikina.
Yeah, okay. Keep thinking that. Yeah.
Hey, Sim, on the real, I knew he was in trouble when he missed the 2 free throws.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna lie. When I see Frank, and I'm like, Frank missed the free, I'm like, we're gonna have a long.
Yeah, I mean, Frank played 14 minutes last night.
I was like, oh man.
Right. So who on our team? Yeah, who on our team last night were we putting in the place of those 2 players? Just tell me that.
Sim, I'm not.
No, just answer my question, because you're complaining about them instead of analyzing the basketball game. You're complaining about them. So tell me, who are you replacing them with? Tell me who you're replacing them with last night. That's what I'm asking you. Who are you replacing them with?
Personally, I would take Elfrid out and put Frank. That's me.
Okay, so Frank Ntilikina in 14 minutes, and I'm not hating on Frank Ntilikina. He was 0 for 3 from the field. He was 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. He was 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. He had 3 rebounds. He had 0 assists.
That's not a good stat.
So is that going to get us the win?
Elfrid Payton wasn't better either.
But hold up, let's double that. Let's say he played 28 minutes. Elfrid Payton played 28 minutes Elfrid Payton played 24 minutes last night. So let's double that. He would have been 0 for 6 from the field. He would have been possibly 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. Maybe he made 1. The stats wouldn't have been too much different than Elfrid Payton's. Okay, so now who are you starting over Reggie Bullock?
All right, you got me there, because it's either Austin Rivers or Kevin Knox. So you got me with the Reggie Bullock.
Or Burks.
Well, Burks is a 2. He's not really a 3, but
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying. It's no point in crying and complaining, trying to place everything on one guy when it was one guy wasn't going to make up a 30-point loss last night. That's all I'm saying.
Yep,
but anyway, let's get to some trade rumors, man. Right? Because obviously, people feel like the Knicks need to make some trades if they want to stay competitive, fight for this playoff spot. There's a lot of things happening in the NBA right now. Players continue to come free. They continue to come free. And the Knicks, if you listen to Ian Begley, and I'll jump to this first, and then we'll come back to the NBA trade deadline rumor mill. You take it from Ian Begley. He says, with less than 2 weeks to go before the trade deadline, the Knicks have plenty of time to sort through potential deals. But New York has been checking in with multiple teams in recent days, which is what you'd expect. But several teams said the Knicks haven't taken an aggressive approach yet in any trade deadline talks, which I'll say is I didn't think that they were going to be aggressive in trying to get a superstar type of player. I never thought that. And
so
I don't know.
About like your Brad, you're talking about your Beals or your Levines or
right, because those guys are not those guys are not going to be available. Right?
Right.
Those guys are not available. So, I just don't expect that the Knicks are going to be able to pull one of those guys away unless they're giving up the house.
Right. Which I don't think they want to do.
Right. Now, maybe there's some other guys out there that, we have to ask the question, are they considered, top players, that the Knicks might consider trading for? And we'll get to that in a minute. Let me finish reading what else Ian Begley had to say about the Knicks. He also said right now, and this is according to other teams in the NBA, right now it seems like they're more open to something smaller, one of the teams said. Prior to the All-Star break, New Orleans' J.J. Redick was among the players the Knicks were keeping an eye on. Redick is on an expiring contract. He will certainly bolster New York's offense and outside shooting. The Athletic reported last month that the Pelicans were taking calls on Redick and guard Lonzo Ball, per The Athletic. Talks at the time were focused on sending Redick to a team near his home in Brooklyn. Then he says, on Ball, the idea of adding the young point guard has support within the organization, but Ball can be a restricted free agent this offseason. So any team interested in Ball would have to weigh the value of trading assets to acquire him in season versus pursuing him in free agency this offseason. And, the article goes on to say that guys like R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle, the only way that they would be available is if, a star was available, right? Does it surprise you at all, Andy, that the Knicks are not going to be aggressive, or at least at this point have not been aggressive? That could change, right? That can change.
Yeah, exactly. But looking at the moves that Leon Rose and co-management of the Knicks did and are doing is, I don't think they're overpaid for even one person, one player, one, staff member, whatever. So I'm guessing if there's a clear-cut opportunity to upgrade the roster for cheap, or at least not, long enough contract to strap us, I think they're going to make the move. But if it's, about picks being involved, overpaying a player that has a longer contract that might, hurt us in the long run, I don't think they're going to make any move. I think they rather ride it out with this squad than, think about, blocking any kind of moves for the future.
Yeah.
They're just playing it safe, Sam. I think they're at this point they're looking at the at the standings and they're like, okay, we overachieved at this point. So even if we drop off a little bit at the end of the season, it's still we can still call it a success, because we're going to be probably like I think we can put at least like 7-8 games, right? So it's going to be like 27, 28. We had, the expectations from Vegas and all the bidding stuff. It was 22.5. So we're going to be better than last season, better than expectations from, the other guys and then the standings preseason with this roster. So I think, moves are going to be made, but they're going to be made in the off season, unless, like I said, there's going to be a clear cut, thing, and it's going to be easier for us to get that player for cheap. And, I think this is the place for, World Wide West to come in and stir things up behind the scenes. Like we saw, with the Bradley Beal rumors, with the Devin Booker rumors, Devin Booker's, former agent is Leon Rose. So you never know how that's going to pan out. They did everything as the organization of the Phoenix Suns to make him stay, but you never know how, what strings are going to get pulled in the off season. So he might ask for an out. There's plenty of things that might happen, but I think the Knicks are going to play it safe this time because we're in a better place, at this point than we expected. So I think they're going to call it a success and just ride it out.
Okay. Big Bubba, what do you think, man? The Knicks look like they're not going to be aggressive, or maybe not going to be aggressive, but what kind of smaller moves do you think would be impactful? How about that?
Yeah, so actually, when I read that, I was very happy, and I like with the direction that the Knicks are going, with not being so aggressive this offseason. I've harped about it this season, where I believe the Knicks shouldn't be aggressive. I believe that's time to do that in the offseason and maybe next season. And because right now, like Andy said, I think we exceeded expectations. We're two wins away from matching our win total of last year already. The league's on notice. Everybody's on notice. They see the team that we have. They see the foundation there. So they see we have the coach, we have the organization, World Wide West. So I do think we're ahead of schedule as far as that. And so when it comes to that, we're in a good spot. And then for small moves, I think small moves would be like probably getting a veteran 3 in there. I think that would probably be what we're looking at. Trying to think who's like really probably be available. That's a veteran 3 that's on the cheap. It's maybe I don't know, maybe a Danilo Gallinari I don't know if did he sign a big contract?
Yeah, I think he signed for $20 million a year. So that would be kind of a major move.
That's out. Yeah, that's out. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah. I mean maybe okay. So it's gonna be tough. I know a few players that are 3s got paid this offseason, but maybe you find a more suitable 3-and-D guy, hopefully. Maybe a JJ Redick, like you said, you probably give up a second rounder for JJ Redick. Mitchell Roberts is coming back, so I don't think they're really going to go for a center. So I think they're probably going to be looking to upgrade that 3, or maybe getting maybe another 2, and maybe moving RJ to 3. They could probably do something like that, and then maybe get maybe a second rounder for Austin Rivers, because I think he's done with the Knicks. I think moves like that, because look, right, I'm a big Lonzo guy, and I would hope the Knicks during the offseason throw a bag at Lonzo, because I don't think he's going to be back with the Pelicans. Because then I remember they drafted Carol Lewis, so maybe they're probably going to be looking to get him into that lineup with what's his name, Eric Bledsoe. Yeah. So if I'm the Knicks, that's one of my main things I'm doing next year, because I don't know if you guys read that other article. I mean, they gave us an in look into the front office and Tom Thibodeau's thinking and Leon Rose and them guys thinking. I don't know if you guys read that, but I know Tom Thibodeau probably wants more of a veteran kind of lineup. And I think Lonzo fits the timeline. He's kind of sort of getting to that veteran. It's kind of crazy to say, but he's getting into that veteran status as far as today's things go. So
kinda, but I feel like Tom Thibodeau's idea of a veteran. I'm not disagreeing with you about Lonzo. He's getting there, but I feel like Tom Thibodeau's idea of a veteran.
Yeah, he's a veteran.
But I feel like Tom Thibodeau's idea of a veteran is a guy who's been through a lot of battles, playoff battles. Has really been. Lonzo Ball's been through that.
I was gonna say, no. I'm saying I think we have that now with D Rose, and I think D Rose is gonna stay with us because I do think they're gonna probably most likely re-sign D Rose. I think the idea position that
D Rose is our DJ Augustine pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's better than DJ Augustine. Probably.
Oh, I agree with you totally.
Yeah, he's better than DJ Augustine.
I think if you put Lonzo in there, I think that'd be a good young guy that he plays defense, so he doesn't have to complain about. His shot has gotten way better with the three. I think he's shooting almost like near. I don't want to say 40%, but I think he's getting up there with his three ball.
When he shoots, you don't cringe.
Yeah, you don't cringe anymore, which is pretty good. And I think he'll do really good with RJ and Randle, and I think he'll do good in the pick and roll, especially with Obi Toppin and those guys. So I think between having a scenario where you have, Lonzo Ball, D Rose, and Emmanuel quickly, I think you have a really pretty good guards. You got pretty good guards right there. Yeah, I wouldn't complain about that.
But see, I wouldn't mind. I love Lonzo Ball. Me personally, I wouldn't mind getting him now instead of the offseason. He is a restricted free agent, and there is no saying that the Pelicans are going to stick with Eric Bledsoe as their main point guard. Lonzo Ball fits their timeline better than Eric Bledsoe does. Right? You got Zion Williamson. Right. You got Brandon Ingram. These guys are the same age as Lonzo Ball. He fits that timeline better than Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe is about 30 years old. Right? So he's on a different timeline.
But so don't forget they got Carol Lewis. They drafted Carol Lewis.
I get that. But what I'm saying is, why wouldn't they, if Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, if they're on the same timeline as Lonzo Ball, why wouldn't they move on from Eric Bledsoe? Have Carol Lewis and then have another veteran point guard. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is if he is available now, I might say, let's go ahead and get him because now I control his contract. We can decide whether or not we want to give him the qualifying offer because this is the only reason why he may get the restricted free agency. The Pelicans, he's due a qualifying offer of $14 million. I think it is. The Pelicans can choose.
Yeah, 14, 15.
I'm looking at it. It's $14 million. The Pelicans can choose to give him a qualifying offer, the qualifying offer. If they choose to give him that qualifying offer and he refuses that qualifying offer, then he becomes a restricted free agent and the Pelicans can match anything. If they do not extend a qualifying offer, then he'll become an unrestricted free agent. If the Knicks trade for him, they retain the same exact rights. They can decide to give him a qualifying offer where he can choose to decline it, go out and try to get another contract someplace. Then the Knicks can choose to match that contract, or they can choose not to give him a qualifying offer. So they would control the contract. He gets the free agency. You don't control anything besides your pitch to him. And then he can go out and, sign with whoever. So if he's a guy that you really want and you think that he's a guy that can take your team to the next level, then, I say you go out and get it.
I'll tell you what.
Let me real quick. Isaiah,
go ahead, Kev. Go.
Jeez, come on, man. Sam, what do you think it would take to get Lonzo Ball here?
I don't know. It's very hard to say. I don't know. I can't even answer that question. It's so hard. It's so hard to judge the market right now on what players and what other teams think players are worth.
What do you think, Andy?
He's averaging.
I think a first and quickly. That might be a start. That might be a start. I'm not even saying add a second rounder to that even.
Well, Sim. So here's my thing too, right? Sim. So, I'm more of I would rather get him in the offseason because if there's a chance you can keep quickly, which I would prefer.
Yes.
I would prefer the Knicks because look, right. Alonzo's probably going to be looking about. If someone offers him a deal, he's probably looking at maybe 3 years, 85.
Yeah.
Probably 3 years, 85, maybe. So basically a 2-year deal or $85 million. I think that's going to be his pricing range, which, what 3 times 85 is what, 19 million, something around there? 19, 20 million? Somebody with a calculator, please.
You said what?
Like 3 divided by 85, what's that, like 20 something?
I mean, it's
just go 90.
It's good.
90 is going to be
90,
easier to
that's
divide
$30 million a year.
Oh, right. He's not getting 30 million. He's not getting 30 million.
I mean, you said 385. If you go 90, that's 30 million. If you go 385, that's a little bit less than that.
27 and a half.
27 and a half million a year.
I don't think he's getting. Okay, I don't think he's getting that. He's probably looking more about 20 million. So he's probably going to get it maybe 3 years, 65 probably. That's more reasonable for Lonzo. If I'm the Knicks, I would throw him now. I'll probably give him a 3 for 70. Something around there because I don't think the Pelicans are gonna match that because they still got to pay Zion. And they still
is he worth that? What did Fred VanVleet get?
He got
85. Yeah. I think he got
100. Did he got 100 million?
No, he didn't get 100 million.
He didn't get 100. He didn't break 100.
But he got 85 for 85 for 4 years.
For 4 years.
So it was over 21, and fans didn't want to pay him that.
Mm-hmm.
But Sim, just to add to the point about Sim, just to add to the point about the Pelicans situation with Lonzo's contract, the thing about him getting unrestricted, that they're not going to allow that to happen because even if he gets to the restricted situation, right? And for example, Knicks bid 15 million, another team bids 18 million. They just gonna go like $500,000 over. They're gonna get him as a restricted free agent, sign him for 3 years, play him half a season, and then try to trade him.
Yep.
Again, because if they're not gonna, and they're gonna, look at the teams that were trying to bid versus them, and then look what they want from those teams. And then it's gonna be an easier way to get something at least for Lonzo if they're not looking for him to be one of their core guys.
Right.
So they're in a great situation. That's why if we would be, focused on him, the best way to trade for him and get him locked up is, as you said, trade for him now so we control the situation of his contract.
Right. Exactly, because they're going to do that exact same thing. Just like you said, they'll go ahead and match whatever offer, or if the Knicks give an offer, they'll say, he's restricted. But we'll match the offer and then we'll trade him to you over the summer, and the Knicks still giving up assets. So yeah, I agree with you. They're
just gonna ride it out, like that. Basically for me, like I said, several times before the season, as the Knicks were building the roster, I liked plenty of NBA players, but for a certain amount of cash. And, Lonzo, I don't think I'm paying Lonzo like even 15, 18 million. That might be a reach for me. 12 and a half, I would happily do it. 15, I would have to consider it. But 18 and above, for a guy that's not a starter, and you basically his skill set, but you don't know his ceiling and stuff like that. I would be torn on that. I would have to make up my mind.
Yeah, I mean right now Lonzo Ball is putting up the same exact numbers that Derrick Rose puts up for the Knicks. Not exact, but pretty close. Right now for the Knicks, Derrick Rose is giving you like 14 points, 4 or 5 assists. He's shooting 47% from the 3-point line. shooting the high 40s from the field goal, from two, his field goal percentage overall. Lonzo Ball is giving you those exact numbers. We're paying Derrick Rose $7 million.
But here's the big difference, though, son. The big difference is that Lonzo's 21 or 22. Derrick Rose is 30.
No, we get that. We get that. But at this point in their careers, they're giving us the same production.
Yeah, but Isaiah, if we get to the first round of the playoffs, would you rather have D Rose in the lineup or Lonzo Ball?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Andy, and I'll probably go Lonzo because Lonzo plays defense. He does. Lonzo does play, and I think when Lonzo's locked in, he really is a really good defender.
Well, for me, he's a better defender than D Rose. But as far as the playoffs go, no, D Rose might be the guy that's gonna get you that 1-2 more wins in the series. I don't think Lonzo's that guy that's gonna push the needle, as Josh likes to say it.
But the beauty of it, Andy, though, is that let's say hypothetically we did have both of them. You can think the way Lonzo's shooting, you can play both of them if you wanted to in a small lineup. If you wanted to, it's a possibility.
That would be the best situation to have both of them.
Yeah, I mean, you could listen. I think Derrick Rose is going to be around. The thing about Derrick Rose is that there's always something flaky going on with Derrick Rose.
Yeah, that's
you just don't know what's going to happen. There's always something flaky happening.
The perfect situation for D Rose and the Knicks is finish up this contract, pay him the vets minimum, and keep him till he's 40, bro.
Yeah.
He could be an assistant coach for me. But if he's getting paid the minimum and is giving us like any kind of production, even like 7, 8 minutes, 10 minutes a game, I'll take that gladly.
But you know what also too, Andy, what I would have. I mean, this is speaking in later in the offseason, but if a good offseason to me for the Knicks would be, and this is just part of it, would be if you get D Rose right. With those 2 draft picks, you can go get some wing guys. You can get like a 3-and-D wing that's a junior or vet or a junior or senior in college. That's a 3-and-D guy. You know what he's going to bring you. Hopefully it translates. Let me say that because we thought Obi, but let's hopefully.
I'm gonna get to you in a second, Kevin. Let me ask this question. Another guy that is now on the market is PJ Tucker. So it was announced last night that by Shams that PJ Tucker and the Rockets agreed he will no longer be with the team anymore and are working to find a resolution. He makes $8 million this season. PJ Tucker does. $7.9 million to be exact. He's 6'5". He plays forward. Obviously, he's tough, strong, tough guy. He's 36 years old, going to be 36 this year. Is he a guy that you would consider a small move that the Knicks could give a second-round pick? Right? They can give up a second-round pick, bring him right into that, the money that they have left over. Is he a guy that you would consider? Kev, I'm going to start with you, man. Would you consider PJ Tucker from the Rockets? I know he's old. I get it. I don't know if I would consider him or not. I want to find out from you guys what you think. And then I'm going to get you a phone call.
Okay, real quick. I think it sets a bad precedent when these teams are not allowing players to play, keeping them off.
That was mutual, Kev. That was mutual.
Yeah,
so
mutual.
They both decided it.
Yeah. Oh, that was mutual. Okay. All right. Well, then that's it. I wouldn't.
Next point.
I can't stand. I don't mind. If he wants to be here, I wouldn't mind. Age right now. I mean, look how old Chris Paul is. I mean, and he's still doing what he's doing. So, if he can help us out, yeah, I would. I wouldn't mind him having. But to answer your original question, Sim, of who I would pick, and you and I are on the same wavelength. We see him right here. It's either Terrence Ross.
Here we go.
Or Willie Barton. Those are the two that I would want as wings. Those are the two. Those are the ones that.
Terrence Ross is also, sitting out games now. I got him on both of my fantasy teams, and he's sitting out games.
And listen, to me, Terrence Ross, is a small move. That's not a major move.
Exactly.
To me, that's a small move. So I'm holding out hope for the guy. I know some people are like, we don't need Terrence Ross. I get it. I'm holding out hope for the guy, man. I really am.
It's either him or it's either him or Willie Barton. Those are the two because they have that build for a small forward. Those are the two that I want.
I'm gonna still say it, man. I know you guys like Terrence Ross, but I'm more of an Evan Fournier guy. I don't know why. I just think he's a little bit better than Terrence Ross, man. I think he's just a little bit better.
He's a little better offensively. I don't think he gets what Tibbs wants defensively.
Yeah,
that's my
issue. More of a shooting guard.
And Terrence Willie gives Tibbs that. Terrence Willie gives that. And Isaiah, to answer your point about going to the draft to try and find those wings and everything, it's not written in stone that if we do get those guys, that Tibbs is going to get them minutes because he doesn't put the rookies in. I mean, he doesn't play the rookies. I mean, he plays quickly, but
Well, Kevin, if you listen to me instead of
I do listen. Here you go again, man. Come on.
Kevin, if you stop laughing and put emojis,
all right, Leroy. Okay.
So right. I mean, again, right. If you did go with Lonzo Ball, that means you don't have to get a point guard in the draft. I mean, again, like I said before, if you get a junior or senior wing in the draft, I think Tom Thibodeau will be a little more, more.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We did that this year. Yeah. We did. Let me get to this phone call. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on with you, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good.
All right. Talk to me, man. Talk to me about, listen, the Knicks, it sounds like at this moment, they're going to make small moves, small little tinker with the lineup a little bit. Nothing major, no Bradley Beals, no Zach LaVines, maybe not even a Victor Oladipo. So what kind of move do you think the Knicks should make? Who to you constitutes a small move that would really be impactful to this team?
Now, that's a good question, but it's hard to put that on the money. But there are so many moves they can make, but yet they got to find the right guy to help the offense. So as far as a small move, I could see Lonzo Ball coming in or maybe a Josh Hart. But as for the small, that's as far as I could see. But for giving somebody up from the Knicks to somebody else, I see maybe giving up for Payton, but that's about it.
Giving them up for who? Who are you trying to use them to get?
I really don't see of who they're going to get yet, but maybe they'll get. To tell you the truth, I really don't know.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Hey, that's fair enough because I don't think the Knicks know either. So, they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do, and how they can tweak the roster. But man, I thank you for the call. All right, appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. Please give me a call 516-405-2246. And I do want to remind you, man, that later on this month we're gonna be premiering a brand new show. Right, called Queens Get the Money. It's going to be featuring Steph. You guys know Stephanie from the chat. She's going to be the host of the show, and it's going to be all ladies on the show, all ladies in the panel. It's going to be dope. All ladies in the panel. Queens Get the Money.
Ladies first. First.
Listen, we got the logo, but we're working on a couple of tweaks to the logo. And for those asking, no, it's not replacing Cooking with Chef Zay, but it was close to replacing it. Anyway, let me get to another phone call here.
Cold day in hell.
Let me get to another phone call here. There's a lot of stuff that can replace Cooking with Chef Zay, but anyway.
No, they can't.
Caller, you live. What's popping?
What's going on, Sam? It's AK. What's going on?
What's up, AK? How you feeling, man?
I'm all right. Chilling, man. Chilling. What we talking about? Trades?
Right now, we're talking about what kind of small trades that the Knicks aren't going to, try to do anything big? What kind of small trades, to tinker with the lineup do you think would benefit the team? What do you think about PJ Tucker?
PJ Tucker?
Yeah, what would you think if they did that?
I'm not too fond of him. I like his defense. But I'm not, I never liked PJ Tucker. I wasn't a big PJ Tucker fan. I mean, he's a power forward, right? 6'8", right? 6'9".
He's actually 6'5". He's actually 6'5". So, but he plays power forward because of his, his build, and that's his style.
His build.
But yeah.
Nah, I want to go for a trade like that. I want to use PJ Tucker. But I hear you're talking about Lonzo Ball now. Now, that could be the plan. I will probably pursue Lonzo Ball and JJ because we don't need a scorer. We need a shooter. We need somebody who can shoot the ball. You understand? So I think if we can get those two going into the second half, I think the Knicks will make some noise, man. I really do. I really see a big – because Lonzo hasn't been unlocked yet. Let me tell you something. He's been the latest New Orleans. Nobody has unlocked him. Tibbs will unlock that boy. Just like, Lonzo Pops, the way he be speaking. Tibbs will unlock Lonzo Ball, man.
Yo, I've been a fan ever since, well, I don't want to say ever since then. When the summer started and we got Obi and we had this, one of the big guys that said, I think we need to go get Lonzo Ball or try to get Lonzo Ball. Let me say that. I do think that Lonzo Ball would work well with what Tibbs wants to do and the guys that we have out there on the floor. I do. I think he would work well with this team. I know some people say, he's just going to be another Elfrid Payton. I think that's wrong. He shoots better than Elfrid Payton. He sees the floor better than Elfrid Payton. He can help these guys. One of the areas that we lack is in transition basketball. He can help in that area. He's a point guard with vision, with floor vision that I really do think could help this team.
That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. Like, he's young, too. He does fit the timeline. It looks like that could be a match made in heaven.
Could be. It could be. And he plays defense. He's a good defender. So you're not losing anything on the defensive side. He's a good defender.
So let me ask you this. Who would you trade for him? Are you trading Franks and Knox? I love Franks and Knox. But I think if you trade second round.
If you are trading for Lonzo Ball, which it is my opinion that if you're going to make a trade for Lonzo, if you are going to pursue Lonzo Ball, you might as well go get him now because, like me and Andy were just talking about, he can be a restricted free agent. The Pelicans are probably going to, they'll say, all right, the Knicks want him. You're trying to get him in free agency. We're going to match his contract, and then we're going to do a sign and trade with you. Right? And the Knicks will be able to do it because they're under the cap. So they'll be able to do a sign and trade. Right? So you're going to lose assets anyway. If I'm the Knicks, if he's the guy that I want, I make the trade. That way I control his contract in the summertime, right? I can give a qualifying offer, whatever it is. I control his contract.
Yep.
So
that's what I would do.
If that's the guy that I wanted, if I was Leon Rose and I'm like, I want Lonzo Ball, then that's what I would try to do. Obviously the Pelicans play a part too because they gotta, you gotta negotiate a trade. So that's what I would try to do. And if I did trade for him, you'd have to give up Elfrid Payton, right?
Yeah, but is he going back to the Pelicans? You might have to get a 13, you're thinking, right?
You might have to get a 13, or they might just waive him.
True.
Because you're gonna be adding other assets in there. It's not just going to be Elfrid Payton, right? So it would be Elfrid Payton.
You want to keep that?
My thing is, where does he play? If you got Lonzo Ball and you got Derrick Rose, where does he play?
Derrick Rose.
I know Derrick Rose is flaky.
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose is flaky, but I just don't know where he plays if you have Derrick Rose and Lonzo Ball. where's he going to play? Where are you going to fit him in?
That's right.
So you might as well just get rid of that whole glut and move on from him. And then because you're not going to trade Derrick Rose, they wouldn't have any interest in Derrick Rose. They may not have interest in Elfrid Payton, but they could waive him. He could move on to another team somewhere, and then there'd be other assets attached to it as well. So that's another thing. There might be a young player and draft picks attached to it too. So I don't know what the asking price would be.
I'll trade him to Boston. I take Nate Smith.
So.
Boston need a nice little guard there.
So
they got too many low guards.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Exactly.
It's a lot. It's a lot to think about. We'll see. I mean, Boston sounds like they're interested in Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant for draft picks.
Yeah, multiple first-round draft picks.
Yep.
Yeah, the trade was smart for picking them up.
Now Jeremy Grant, is he's having the best season he's ever had so far. He's averaging 24 points, 5.4 rebounds, 2.9 assists. He's 27 years old. He's making $20 million a year. They do have a trade exception that they can use, so they're probably looking to add something in there.
So we got to make a move.
We'll see where that goes with Jeremy Grant in Boston. I don't know if the Pistons are looking to move on from Jeremy Grant or not. He doesn't really fit. If they're going super young, he doesn't really fit in there.
True.
If they're going super young, he's 27 years old. Just turned 27, so I don't know where that's going to go. But that kind of gives you an idea. If Jeremy Grant, now obviously Lonzo Ball doesn't put up the same stats as Jeremy Grant, but if the Celtics are willing to give up multiple first-round draft picks for Jeremy Grant, you don't think Lonzo Ball, you're going to be giving up a draft pick and a young player at least. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I trust the front office. We do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, I appreciate the call, man.
Yeah. Have a good one, man.
You too.
Peace to the chat. One love.
Peace. Other stuff that's out there, of course, LaMarcus Alridge. According to Adrian Wojnarowski, the Spurs are working on trade scenarios with LaMarcus Alridge and have been engaged on several fronts. All right, there's a level of confidence that a trade partner will be found for Aldridge, perhaps even in the next week. And no movement toward a contract buyout. I personally have no interest in LaMarcus Aldridge, but I do wonder which teams, given his contract situation, which teams might be looking to make a move for LaMarcus Aldridge.
Why not? Why not? Because I think he worked for us.
Oh my God!
I've just never been interested in the guy. I've never liked him.
You keep quiet. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to Sim. All right, Sim.
My bad, kid. My bad.
What was you saying now?
Listen. I can't argue with the output that he's had over the years. I look at him with the Spurs right now. They got him on the bench. Well, he's not playing right now. He's not playing.
He should have stayed in Portland.
I mean, he probably would be doing it. I don't know. I mean, but I guess Pop, doesn't feel like he gives you the same type of production, the production that he wants from him. I've always felt like he was, I don't know, when he first got to San Antonio, he was, he had a little, him and Pop didn't really hit it. And then now, of course, on the bench, I remember when we played him, I was asking, I wonder how LaMarcus Aldridge is going to deal with this. How is this going to work with him going to the bench? He didn't sound like he was too happy about it. He didn't say that. He was just like, it's something I got to get used to. How do I get warmed up? How do I have the right mindset? Blah, blah, blah. But I always felt like the guy was a little shiesty. That's all.
Really?
I don't know. It was just something about him that I always felt like, even when he was a big free agent, and people were like, maybe the Knicks should go after LaMarcus Aldridge, I was like, nah. I never thought he was that level of a star at that point, and obviously he's not now. And I wouldn't approach it if the Knicks were trying to trade for him. I don't think they would approach him in that manner as a star. Right. But his contract is like $20-something million a year, so you got to give up something, to get him. And I don't think he's worth it at all. I'm staying away from LaMarcus Aldridge, in my opinion. Yeah. Guillermo, what do you think?
I mean, no offense. At this point, beggars can't be choosers. So the Knicks are not really in a position to say, who we shouldn't take, especially when the contract is $24 million, but he's a free agent next year anyway. So it's just going to come off the books, essentially an aspiring contract. And again, LaMarcus Aldridge's biggest thing was that he wasn't physical enough. He's always settling for shots, and then he never gelled with Popovich. But a guy who's still shooting 36% from outside, over 3-point-some attempts a game. If you probably have to try to convince him and coax him into it. But again, if you're talking about a guy who could provide some mid-range shots, provide some shooting from outside, and better. No offense, I still think there's some value in Obi, but at least allow his development to come a little bit better than trying to rush him into some important spots. It's another body. Just the Knicks, we don't really have many options really in the free agency market. We don't have a lot of assets to push out. So, if you could get them on the cheap, or if there's a buyout or something, I think we were talking about this yesterday. I don't know.
It's not going to be a buyout. They already have trades. They're already working towards trades, and he could be moved like next week. There's not going to be a buyout.
Oh, okay, all right.
So that means you've got to move contracts to take up that $24 million. To me, I just don't think it's worth it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's different then, because you have to think of what $24 million to take.
It will be about $9 million because we would have to send out because we got the 15 spare, right? So
yeah.
Oh, we
could send them the trade exception and then $9 million in fillings. So
okay, $9 million. Oh, okay, my bad. I didn't know we had a trade exception. I apologize.
Come on, Lee's in the podcast. Come on.
Shut up, Isaiah.
You see what I mean?
It's just attention mongering. He's like he has ADHD, bro. Like, what is this? Anyway, I guess who would you send out? Would you send out a Kevin Knox for him?
I wouldn't send out anything for him. I've never been impressed with LaMarcus Aldridge as a player. I always just, even when he was in his prime, I always just thought he was, kind of slow and plodding.
Stiff.
I didn't think he was, that great defensively. A little soft.
But we're also
I was just never impressed with him.
If he wanted to come off the bench, right, or if he somehow agreed to it, right? That's obviously a big if with what you're saying. You're talking about at least providing another scoring option from the bench who could at least be what he always wanted to be, which is basically a space 4, since he doesn't want to play the 5 per se, right? You're talking about a guy who can hit from outside and could at least open up the offense a little bit when you bring in a guy like Quickly, or even when Derrick Rose comes back. So it's like, I agree with you. I like this game when he was in Portland more so. With the Spurs, it just never gelled into anything greater than that. But again, it's about impact, right? And the thing that the Knicks need is scoring. We don't have scoring. We're one of the worst in the league. So again, I don't know since they talking about trades, I'm not sure I would trade a lot for him. But if it was relatively, I don't know.
I mean, if he was on the buyout market and you could get him for $4 or $5 million, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I'm not paying him. I mean, I know it's just for one season, and people say, well, he could be, he'd be an expiring contract. But if you only move expiring contracts, then it really is neither here nor there. Then you're just giving up, draft picks or whatever for him. If you give up a player that has a longer contract, like say Kevin Knox, then you do shed off a little bit of money going forward. But so you shed off about $6 or $7 million, whatever Kevin Knox's contract is for next year. You shed off money for next year. But if you only trade expiring contracts, then it kind of.
Listen, I heard there was a big rumor that he's going back to Portland, because I heard he really wants to go back there, and I think there's like a lot of mutual interest.
She should never have left in the first place.
So how would Portland? I don't know what their money looks like as far as Portland.
I think they'd have to trade. What's that kid's name?
Zach Collins.
Zach Collins? Yeah, I don't know, because I heard that there was like a little, like the kind of a
Yeah, 130 right now.
Zach Collins.
Yeah, they got 130. For this year they got Zach at 5.4. They got Enos at 5. You got your boy Melo at 2.5. They got Giles at 1.6. They got Gary Trent. They're not getting rid of. I think they're gonna. I don't know what they're not giving up that contract. Ronnie Hood at $10 million, and he's on for 2 more years, too. So I don't know. Nurkic is at 12, but again, Nurkic is such a weird play because he's a talented guy, but he's hurt every other year. So I don't know.
I mean, they might be willing to give up that because, like you said, he does get hurt like literally almost every year. So
yeah, but you could probably get more for if you really want to move on from Nurkic, you could probably get more from him next year because it's going to be 2 years of poor free agency. So even if you want to move, you probably get way.
I mean, if they want him, they'll probably have to get a third team involved, like the Knicks, that have some cap space that you can absorb some contracts to help them out.
Right.
So we're going to bring Melo home?
Here we go.
I doubt they're moving on from Melo. They'd be looking to probably move. I mean, I don't even think they'd be looking to move Rodney Hood. I don't know. They'd be looking to move, Zach Collins, Cantor, some things like that, I guess. I don't know. Who knows what they'd be looking to do? How they'd be looking to make it work if he's looking to go back. If he's going to be traded back. And according to Adrian Wojnarowski, they're working on trade scenarios and have been engaged on several fronts. I guess being engaged doesn't mean that it's happening, right? There's a level of confidence that a trade partner will be found for Aldridge, perhaps even in the next week. And there is no movement toward a contract buyout. So we'll see how that works out and where he could be suited now. Boston has been, in the mix for a big guy.
Yeah, he would fit up.
Oh, they're always in the mix for a big guy every year, literally.
I mean, ever since they moved on from Al Horford.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since they moved on from Horford.
They moved on from Kevin Garnett, and
yeah,
for a big guy.
Right.
Yeah, and Big Perk. I heard Whistler might be on the move too. I heard Al Horford might be on the move.
I could see that in OKC. Looking at their trajectory right now and what they're trying to do.
They get another one. They get another first round pick.
Don't they still got a lot of picks? Because they could use a Drummond, right? And if Drummond doesn't get bought out, wouldn't they be the best match?
Who?
I don't know what the contract situations are. Boston.
I think Drummond
Boston
would be
has a trade exception. Yeah. Boston has a trade exception. I think they might deal for Vucevic from Orlando. They can make it work.
Yeah,
they can make it work.
I think Orlando. I was just reading that NBA executives have come away from Orlando feeling like they're not going to move Vucevic, that they're going to keep him.
I mean, I feel like right now, if they trade him to Boston, I feel like they can get some good pieces plus 2 first-round picks, and that's just beginning for Vucevic.
Yeah, and for me, Orlando's got to scrap it. They got to scrap it.
I agree. They need to go ahead and break that thing down.
They need to get rid of all of those guys.
I mean, they've been meddling around the eighth seed for the last 4 or 5 years.
So what you're saying is that they don't believe in Vucevic, Fournier.
It's not about that, Kev.
Yeah,
I'm just asking. You're saying break it up. I'm just saying.
Kev, they got to break it up because of the contract situation also, bro. He has been averaging basically almost a triple-double last couple of seasons, and they can't get past anything. So they got to scrap that team, from the Terrence Rosses, the Evan Fourniers, and the rest of those guys. Not to mention they are pretty unlucky with the point guard injuries.
Yeah,
bro, no matter who they get at point guard, a reclamation project, a vet, or whoever, he always get injured. So, I know they got to replace that court or whatever, but
I doubt they move on from Vucevic.
That's what y'all are saying, that they don't I mean,
no, but Kev, though,
you've seen these guys. I mean, when you think of the Magic now, that's who you think of. You're thinking of him. You're thinking of Fournier. You're thinking of slam dunk contest runner-up
Aaron Gordon.
You're thinking of Gordon. You're thinking of those three. I consider those three, your cornerstones right there. So you're saying you should get rid of them. You're saying they should get.
It's the thing about Vucevic though is that I don't see them moving on from him now, because even as bad as the team has been, and again they've had the injuries, at least you have some type of one. He's their so-called star, what do you want to say?
Right.
And two, he's still a foundational piece, right? Even if it's old school, you could still so-called, when you get guys like Cole Anthony back, and you see whatever you have in Markelle Fultz, and then you come into this draft, whoever they draft, say they draft a Kuminga, say they come close to doing that, or even they draft a Jalen Green, Cole Anthony, Vucevic. They might try to see where they could build from there before they kind of blow up everything. Because again, if you talk about blowing up, you trade to the Celtics, those first round is not going to be of crazy value anyway. So if they're going to trade them, they're probably going to wait maybe next year, where again it's going to be a drought in regards to free agency, and they'll get at least one more year.
But also too, Kev, though, you got to see, but you got to think about it too, like this, Kev, right? When you have a team like the Magic, right, where ever since Dwight Howard has left, they've either been terribly bad and they've been mediocre. They've been like Sim said, they've been hovering around the 8-7 spot. They get pretty much swept every time. There's no progression. Aaron Gordon's never took the next step. Vucevic had took the next step, but again, right,
let's also remember they're missing a key piece also in Isaacs. So that's another reason why they that they're not.
He's a key. He's not that key. He's not the key that unlocks the door to a championship.
I'm not saying that either.
He did.
I'm not saying that either, but he is still a key part of that rotation.
Right, he's progressing. If you come into next season, if you have, say, Vucevic, a healthy Cole Anthony, a healthy Markelle Fultz, a Jonathan Isaacs, and then you draft, granted, drafts are not going to turn into world beaters. But again, Jonathan Isaacs was progressing into one of the more talented so-called
exactly
in the league.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But there's just so many question marks that I don't think they blow it up, and they have leverage, right? It's like we can wait out this year, and then we see what we got next year, where people are going to still be desperate, and then if we want to move guys, we move guys, but at least see what we got this year. Because again, they come in this year, say a guy, look what LaMelo Ball did. I was even on the train at LaMelo Ball. I thought he was a little bit overhyped, a little bit overrated. He's coming out. He's made them a so-called playoff team. They go in next year and they get a guy like a Kuminga, or they get a guy like a Jalen Green, and they are, they're 6th seed. Because again, the East is relatively weak, and you have all those guys. That could be I'm not gonna say a scary team, but they can have that same impact of having, even though LaMelo's impact is way higher.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Vucevic is 30 years old.
So you think they peaked then? You think they peaked?
Yeah, I just don't think that they're going with this roster. I don't think they're going.
But you know what though, Kev? But here's the thing, all right. I personally think if I'm a Magic GM, between Vucevic and Aaron Gordon, between those two, you can get five first round picks.
So again, you're not believing in them then.
It's not that, but it's like Sim said, they reached their peak with this roster setup. Come on.
I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question.
Because you live in Florida, right?
No, I travel to Florida, but Okay.
But all I'm saying is, like, listen. It's the I don't care where Kevin lives. It's the Magic. You know what I'm saying? It's like no one's coming in. If you have a chance to trade Vucevic, who's 30, for 2 first-round picks or 3 possibly, you got to do that. And then if you can build around Isaac, build around Isaac and Cole Anthony, then I think that's a good way to start off a rebuild.
Isaiah, you just said it. Again, because of the fact that no one really cares about basketball like that, and they got Big Brother in the Miami Heat, they have to keep some type of attraction. So again, if they're going to make that type, they have to make sure that Vucevic you know, all that water just squeezed out the rock. Like there's nothing left in Vucevic, and we could, you know, we feel there's nothing left in Vucevic, and we're ready to move on. Now, I don't know how long the GM has been there in that new regime or that regime with the Magic. I'm not even sure who he was actually the GM, so it depends on what they do. But again, they kind of have leverage. You know, again, a wash season where guys were hurt. Now the guy I think they might move. They could fleece, and again, they put out there they're not moving anybody. So if somebody get really desperate, look, we'll give you a first rounder. Be a guy like Terrence Ross.
Exactly.
He's older.
Exactly.
Vucevic is 32, but he's not. Vucevic's foundation piece. Terrence Ross is a piece that can go out and do the whole. He could be a Marcus Morris for the team. So,
correct.
You know, again, when these teams come out and say, "Oh, we're not moving these guys," whatever. A lot of times it's a drum of value to make teams desperate to say, "Okay, these guys don't want to move on. We got to give them a first versus, you know, a second and, you know, a Kevin Knox or something like that, some trash player."
Yeah, but my opinion, I believe that the Magic does believe in Vucevic. I can't say his name. Yeah, him.
Aaron
Fournier,
Gordon,
and Aaron
Cole
Gordon.
Anthony, and the rest of the crew.
Cole Anthony, because he got, you know, he was drafted by them. The jury's still out. But those three that I named, I think they believe in them.
Listen, Mark Stein said that, you know, according to Mark Stein, you know, the Magic are sending strong signals that they have no interest in trading All-Star center Nikola Vucevic before the March 25th trade deadline. So, you know, it looks like he's going to be there. Now, as far as other players, you know, we'll see, you know, how they decide to move from there.
I'd be shocked. If they move Fournier and Aaron.
Bro,
I'd be shocked.
They would pack Fournier's bags, bro. I can bet you. They would really trade him for if someone gives them one first-round pick and a salary cap, like an expiring contract, he's as good as gone.
Okay.
Hey Sam,
they would trade him to CSKA Moscow, Kev. They got something bad, bro.
Go ahead.
You know who's happy right now?
Who?
The Nothing But Magic podcast. Wherever they at,
Probably.
It's probably someone out there with a bucket hat, happy as hell right now. They're talking about the Magic.
Well, just like I can go to the big brother, I don't think the Heat would ever trade Abayu. I don't think they'll ever trade him.
But why would you? You don't trade. Why would you trade them?
They get a playoff fund. Why would they trade them?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're cornerstones. Cornerstone.
You find a way to say your name.
Cornerstone. Let me get a couple shout outs in here. Shout out to Corey Lee, said, "Big Bubba, quit your blood clot crying." Say it'll be all right, man. And then Corey, another Corey, he said, "I'm surprised the Knicks didn't thank you for the super chat, get in the Kevin Porter Jr. trade." He said Tibbs would have got him in shape. You know, I will say to Corey,
I would have left him. I would have left him alone. I would left Kevin Porter alone.
Kevin Porter Jr. That's not an in shape thing. That's a chronic back issue.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think he was talking about. I think he was talking about, you know, like attitude wise. I don't think he, you know, that type of thing. Attitude wise, not physically in shape. And I will say to Corey, who gave me the super chat, because he actually said Tibbs would have whipped that boy in shape, and I don't use that vernacular on this language. I don't like whip that boy.
Oh yeah.
All right, and you know, we can take it from there.
Mom.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you know, next time just say, you know, would have gotten him in shape. Thank you. All right,
Black History Month, people, come on now.
That's already passed, but okay.
It has already passed, but it don't matter.
It's every month.
It don't
Get
matter.
it right, brother.
I do want to ask about. AK was on. He was asking about. He was talking about JJ Redick, right? You know, when we were talking about Lonzo Ball. Do you think JJ Redick is done? I don't even know how much he makes.
I thought he made like $20 million.
Nah, he makes pennies now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he's making right now. I'm about to check.
He doesn't make less than Culver, right?
He makes 13.
Culver's out of the league.
13 million.
No, I think Culver came back.
Yeah, so J.J. Redick is making $13 million this year. I mean, I kind of feel like J.J. Redick is at the end of his rope and would probably, would get here and probably, we trade for him to just sit on the bench, in my opinion. I don't know if he's, I know for a few years he was exactly what Philadelphia needed for a little while, but I think at this point,
they were great.
I think he's done.
No, Philly was crazy for letting him go. Philly was crazy.
I think Sim, I think he's a buyout candidate, and no better team than the Brooklyn Nets to get all those all buyout team.
Oh God, yeah.
That's exactly what they're going to be, the all buyout team, without a doubt.
Buyout team.
Well, I don't think he's going to go there because they got Joe Harris. I think he's probably more of a Lakers guy, maybe a Lakers guy, Bucks guy.
You've been out the country too long, man. He's looking to be somewhere near Brooklyn so that he can. He's about ready to retire. He lives in Brooklyn. He's looking to be somewhere New York, Brooklyn, Philadelphia. He's looking to be around this area so that he can ride off into the sunset and be home with his family. So he's not going to the West Coast.
Don't they get the news out there in Guyana?
I don't know.
First of all, I'm not, hey, hold on. On a serious. Okay, Kev. You done, Kev? Nah. So on the serious note, the connection really wasn't that good up there. It was really tough, man. It really was, and I was struggling, man. It was tough.
So you had no TV in your room then, right?
No, I really didn't. I had no TV.
That's actually not bad, man.
Yeah,
I had to take
that's called vacation.
I had to take cold showers every day, man, because it was that hot. It was crazy. Yeah,
that's actually very good for you, Isaiah, for your health and blood pressure. No, I'm not joking. All right, this guy Kevin is. I'm actually trying to be serious, man. That's actually good for you, man.
Yeah, because I'm kidding you, man. Every day it was about 80-something degrees, 85 to like 85. Kev, is it that funny, Kev? Damn.
No, it's coming out of you.
I don't even know what he's laughing at.
It's coming out of Isaiah. That's why.
I don't know what he's laughing at right now.
I don't know what he's laughing at either. But I didn't know JJ Redick was from Brooklyn. I didn't know that. Shout out to Guillermo.
Well, he's not from Brooklyn, but he lives in Brooklyn. He lives in Brooklyn. He's not from Brooklyn. He lives in Brooklyn.
Only in the off seasons when Guillermo rents in the room.
I don't claim that that's gentrified Brooklyn. I don't really. I don't claim this part of Brooklyn. Was it live in Greenpoint? No, Williamsburg. No.
Yeah, it might be Greenpoint. That's a
Yeah, no one.
Bensonhurst.
He's from Brooklyn.
Well, if it was Bensonhurst, it'll be Italian. They still got some.
Is JJ Redick Italian? Is he Italian?
No. Redick? No.
Redick?
I don't think so. Not Redick.
Yeah, Redick. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't think he's I'm not interested really in having him come to this. I know people think he can still, come off screens and be that guy. I'm just not sure he can.
We don't set good screens here anyway.
Yeah, so, like 2 seasons too late.
He's not that guy that I saw in Philly 2 years ago when I went to the Knicks Philly game where he was just lighting us up. He's not that guy.
This guy trying to humble bro about his trip to.
When I was in the penthouse.
When I got courtside tickets. Okay, Kevin.
$90.
Now that did happen. I'm only about 45 minutes away from the Wells Fargo Center.
We get it. You live in New Jersey. We get it, Dad. Yeah. We get it, Dad.
Hey, but still, I asked this question before. The Denver Nuggets have an interesting situation. They got a lot of guards, and they could probably shed some. Because I think that one guy they could be looking at could be a Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal, but Zach LaVine could definitely fit the 3. Bradley Beal could fit, obviously play the 1, or you have a small front court. But they have 3 guards. They got R.J. Hampton, who they just drafted, or whatever you're going to put it. They got P.J. Dozier, who put up like 20-something a few nights ago. And then they got Monte
Morris. Yeah.
Who is a really good – and they got the guy, Andy's favorite player, Facundo Campazzo from
Right.
Argentina. So they have a glut of point guards. Monte Morris, every time he fills in for injured Gary Harris, he plays really well. Now, I'm not sure if he's so-called star material, but he probably could be better than Elfrid Payton. PJ Dozier, I don't know much about PJ Dozier, but obviously, would you be willing to make a trade with Denver? Give up a player, and he's making what? Monte Morris making like $9 million. He signed a 3-year, $27 million deal maybe last season, I think. But that is definitely a team I'll try to poach to get a guard. Now, I know Kevin mentioned Will Barton, but they need scoring, so they probably will not let go of Will Barton. But for a point guard, you have a guy like Jokic, who's basically the center of their so-called passing. I'm not saying he'll do by himself, but I will look to try to make a trade with Denver. Trade him a few seconds, maybe a player for Monte Morris, or maybe even a PJ Dozier, and see if they bite.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I think it's trades like that when Tom Thibodeau says that they're looking to, they're combing the league. I think it's trades like that. People that they can find that have decent enough contracts. Maybe you don't have to give up a whole lot to get them. It doesn't really impact your financial situation going forward, but could be a piece that impacts your team now and going forward. I think it's people like that they're looking for.
Hey, Kev, real quick. When you got those 4 seeds, did they think you were Steve Mills, or did you get them on your own?
Oh my gosh, this guy goes all the way back.
Oh my goodness! See, this is why I have to mute you sometimes, because we were just having a conversation about players, and then you come up with and then you just.
And now this panel and this chat realizes why I laugh so much because of what he be saying, man. That's why I'm laughing.
Wait, hold on. We've been saying he's not like Steve Mills for how many years? And all I said was he could have used the Steve Mills voice to get the tickets to the game.
It's about timing, though. We were just having a discussion about possible trades, and then you just come out the blue with that.
He has no timing. He has no timing.
That's crazy.
He's not a gentleman. He's
Hold on. Isaiah, let me ask you this. What did Legion just ask us?
Even Andy knows.
What did Legion just ask us about? What did he just ask us? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about.
I don't even know, man.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, it's something about gentrification. I don't.
Yeah,
no,
Isaiah
that was like
keeping that whole sentence in himself just to blow it up on,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like instead of hearing the question, he was thinking really, really hard of a joke to come at Kev, and so he was thinking so hard he couldn't focus on anything else.
I was thinking about the joke. I'm sorry. I was thinking about
It's all right.
Listen, y'all gonna kick me out like Patrick Ewing? Is that what you're gonna do now?
I can change it around.
That's a good transition, though.
Let me get to his phone call. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on with you, man? I'm good.
So I got an idea. Maybe the Knicks should sign LaMarcus Alridge to help Julius Randle under the basket. Hope we get some buckets in with some sky hooks if possible, couple of dunks, just trying to get underneath the basket some more.
Oh, say that again about LaMarcus Aldridge?
I want him to work with Julius Randle, so hopefully we'll get like the Twin Towers again, just like San Antonio had with Duncan and Robinson. So maybe get some more hook shots, more underneath the basket, and stuff like that.
Oh, so you think the Knicks should try to make a move for LaMarcus Aldridge because they could have, you think they could have a size advantage over some teams?
Yeah, they could have more power in the paint than they've ever had before.
Oh, I mean,
LaMarcus Aldridge, I think, could be like a Patrick Ewing type player for the Knicks. They get him there at the right time.
You think who could be a Patrick Ewing type player for the Knicks?
LaMarcus Aldridge, if we put in the work hard enough. If we play hard enough, put in the work, I could think of the Patrick Ewing type player for the Knicks.
I mean, if you talk about Patrick Ewing from the Supersonics, maybe. I mean, I'm just saying, my man. I don't know if he's,
Oh man! Oh man!
Hey, I appreciate your call, man. I appreciate it.
No hard feelings.
No, it's just a joke, man. We like the joke. It's so good.
You gotta think that one's pretty good. I gotta think that one's pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate your call, man. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Since we're talking about Patrick Ewing, man. Can I start the segment off? Can I do it?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Start the segment. Go ahead. You were getting ready to say something, and then go ahead.
I'm gonna start the segment off. I'm gonna proud of myself. So, since we're talking about Patrick Ewing, man, listen, panel. There's been a lot of talk these last 24 hours. Every Knicks fan in the world has seen Patrick Ewing's explosive post-game interview. Talking about, this is his house. He built it. I'm getting stopped every 10 minutes. And, of course, they blew it up. ESPN, Fox, all these places, Yahoo Sports, everybody. How do we feel? How do we feel about what's been going on with Patrick Ewing? I guess James Dolan has it out for him, from what everybody's saying.
Honestly, I feel like it's an overblown thing, honestly. I'll say it real quick and easy. MSG, they should educate their staff and their security people on, the history of MSG. That being said, somebody who's 25 years old that's working security or in the staff, they may not know who Patrick Ewing is. And if you ask them for, hey, can I see your pass to get into this spot or that spot, that's their job. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
really. That's it.
And we got to think, first of all, Patrick Ewing and these other guys, suits of Patrick Ewing, but don't go on don't give the media fodder. So I think they said that night, he kind of took it back, like it was supposed to be serious, but how the media acts regarding the Knicks. Like, we have to also think about this. The COVID protocols are in place, right? So again, they probably take an extra precaution, make sure that random people aren't walking around, because we live in America where literally you can literally, in certain states, you can go to someone's house, rob their house, and if they shoot you back, you can sue them. This is so
right.
We live in a society where literally accountability is not required for a lot of people. So I'm not saying it's Patrick Ewing, but it could be some other person who could be looking for a payday, who could be a A-list turning to a B, C, D-list celebrity. They go around, something happens to them. Or it'd be the other way around. Say that he was found out to be a so-called super spreader of the thing, and he's getting people infected. Are they going to sit there and sue Patrick Ewing? No, they're going to sit there and sue James Dolan. So many times, look, James Dolan is a bad enough basketball owner that, in terms of just basketball on the court, that we can actually be objective about other things. Because again, if it was your house and a bunch of people, maybe your friends, whatever, they come in and they doing something that could get other people sick or whatever, the fault is going to be on you. So again, we have to think about in the mindset of ownership. And now you have people like Spike Lee, he bugs me. The only reason because I just like his movies. But these guys, they bug me. They run like whatever's to the media and they cry, but you're literally pampered celebrities who got great seats, got great perks. And you, Spike Lee, you went back and you actually dabbed it up with Dolan to say it's all good and then went back and cried about it.
Yep.
Like, that's just, maybe he has a new movie to promote, but Patrick Ewing, you are a GOAT. But again, you can't be walking around like that. And again, let's be honest. I don't know if you said something that people should be educated on Patrick Ewing, but let's be honest. There are a lot of places where they're supposed to be icons, whatever, and there are people who work in these places who don't give a damn about basketball. All they want is just a job. They don't care who it is. And I actually like those type of people because they're not going to be giving shortcuts to anybody. They're going to make sure that I'm protected because even in some cynical, weird world, you're an owner and someone's trying to kill you or something. I'm just making this up. But they'll be the ones to protect it. But hey, there's certain protocols. No one can get through, blah, blah. Your girlfriend can't get through. Your mom can't get through, blah, 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 blah. None of that can happen. So I actually like what the security did. Yes, I have to be educated on Patrick, but Patrick should know better. Hey, this is a different time. You can't be walking around giving the COVID protocols, blah, blah, blah. You should know better. So,
and you know what, though?
Guillermo.
I'm saying, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, just Guillermo, and just to piggyback on what you said, I was having this chat on one of the Twitter groups we have. Just imagine, and I bet none of us here in the panel and none of the people that are currently watching this show or are going to rewatch this show would be able, as Knicks fans, to be one of those security people and go on the, down to the court and turn their back on the court and watch the whole pregame, whatever, just looking at the stands. And they're too much of fans not to peek at the court, right? Mm-hmm. So I basically could bet money on it that when they go to the job interview, they just ask him, do you like basketball, whatever? Because if they say yes, you would know that they would try at least to take a peek at the best league in the world. So you're going to have people that say, I don't really care about that. I could care less. I rather watch ballet than basketball. And then you're going to get the job because they're pretty much sure you're not going to turn your head for nothing to watch on the court, right? Yeah. So, and that goes, further to the people that you were talking about. They're doing good. They're going to do the job really good because they don't care about anything less. Just to do their job great, right?
There was a movie called The Godfather 3, and
terrible movie.
Whatever. Al Pacino played Michael Corleone, and he was trying to get out of the mafia life, and unfortunately, he was being drawn back into it. But he had a famous line: "Just when you thought I was out, they bring me back in," and that was what I felt like today. Because just when the Knicks were finally trying to get rid of all that negative publicity, this comes out and everybody jumped on it. And you saw, once it came out, they went straight to Spike. ESPN went straight to Spike and booked them on First Take. And Max Kellerman just couldn't wait to spew any bad karma, about us and everything. I mean, it gets to be ridiculous at times.
Here's the thing, though. We feed the oxygen because, granted,
yes, we do.
We have all these people, right? There are probably more people in here that probably depend on NBK more than they do on ESPN. But we feed. Now, granted, I know people like to point out, oh, this person said this is person, but you got to realize, like, a lot of these media, these mainstream media types regarding the sports, a lot of these guys they're talking heads. Like, and again, for a place like the E word, I don't want to say it here, but that station, they fired a lot of people who are actually talented because they need the reins because the NBA deals just kicking them in the butts, right? The reins are down and they're losing money on it. So they're going to have these people who literally live on extremes and that stuff, so they have to get spiked to get the scoop on such a non-story. If Knicks fans actually did not pay attention to them, they would suffer. It wouldn't bother you. Like, you wouldn't feel okay, Patrick Ewing said that, okay, who cares? Not saying no one cares about Patrick Ewing, just no one cares.
Right.
You went to ESPN to do that? I mean, you could actually came on NBK and actually said, all right, this have blah, blah, and you would have had a more objective, it would have been a more balanced view. You know what I mean? Same thing with Spike. But, Spike has to go out there. Spike is saying, didn't Spike become a Nets fan? So it's like, why are we even like?
Did he really?
So did he? I want to misquote him.
I don't know.
I know Max became a Lakers fan, but it's like, Max, you were a rap. Like, he's just a clown. It's like, don't listen to those guys. They have to speak hyperbole to help their state. There's no real objectivity. There's no real value in the things they say. So if you ignore them, they don't impact you.
And Gilmore, this time, what really bothered me the most was that you have these people. We have to me, it wasn't even the big. It wasn't even the big. Those networks. It wasn't even that. It was the people in the comment section and all these fans reverting back to, oh, this is the same old Knicks and
exactly.
I'm just like, and I'm like, I got into one argument. I'm like, please tell me why James Dolan, who people do a little bit of research, has a good relationship with James Dolan. People forget that Charles Oakley dissed Patrick Ewing because he was cool with James Dolan.
Yep.
So again, people have these narratives in their head. They were talking about, well, why would James Dolan do this? And bro, how could people on one foot say COVID-19 spreading. It's everywhere. It's, we got to make sure everything's locked up. But then you're mad at security guards who, some of them, like Andy said, they might not care about basketball whatsoever. They don't care about, this is Patrick Ewing. This is the captain. No. Some people be like, sir, where's your pass? You need your pass. And look, nobody's coming hard on Patrick Ewing, right? Nobody's trying to come hard, but Patrick Ewing, just wear the pass. If you wear the pass, that's all you got to do. And people act like, my thing is people are getting mad at MSG security. These aren't people who have 4-year, $120 million contracts.
Exactly.
These are people that are making, 30, 40,000, 45,000 at best being security guards. If that's even what they're making. And you want to get mad at them because they're actually Patrick Ewing, you're mad at them for doing their job. And people are really
like this. I'm not losing my job for Patrick Ewing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You may be a superstar for the Knicks, whatever, but if I lost my job, you're not paying me checks. So I'm not losing my job for you. If you want to be here or whatever, show your pass. If James Dolan lets it. And by the way, there's a story someone put on Twitter. James Dolan also got denied.
Yes.
That's security. That is what that type of security.
That was my friend Sola. Yeah.
I don't have a certain credentials, whatever. You know what I mean? You're not letting me in, and I own a thing. I like that. I take that any day of the week because I don't want, bro, you go into some of these organizations and you hear about the stories of, a woman at a club, she got jumped blah, 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 she's underage and stuff like that. It's like, I want security to make sure that there's no little loophole because think about this. Just think about this. You can have a security guard that has a family that's looking for money. The guy or woman, whatever, might be, okay, yeah, I'm gonna let my family come in through this back door, whatever. But you can have a shiesty person trying to make money. And all of a sudden it's, I've fallen, I can't get up. And that is $1 million. It's not even a suit. Yes. You might try to settle it out of court. That's what I'm saying. This is such a non-story. Guys, ignore these other channels. They don't talk about any. Now I'm hearing one person is a so-called Knicks fan. This person, she has destroyed the Knicks for years. Now the Knicks are doing good. Now all of a sudden her and her husband are Knicks fans. It's like, these are the people you're dealing with. It's like,
oh, that's Rachel Nichols you're talking about, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that she actually this is the scary thing. She votes for at the end of the year awards. This is the same person that when Steven Jackson was saying there are a bunch of voters who don't know what they're talking about because they voted in Danny Green for the all-defense team over Avery Bradley one year. Avery Bradley was the more dominant defensive guy. She didn't say anything because they don't know basketball.
That's
so
right.
You have to ignore them. They don't even. These guys don't even watch unless it's in LA or it's in Miami, where they go down and whatever in Miami.
Yeah.
It's just ignore them.
People don't even understand that. James Dolan went to Patrick Ewing after all this went down. I love no disrespect. Like I love when ESPN does stuff like this without any context. And like you just said, Guillermo, they fired a lot of people because I have actually people who I know that work for ESPN, and it was terrible. It was completely terrible. Very bad experience. But again, right, you have they have stories of James Dolan not getting in his own building. They don't talk about him talking to Patrick Ewing about what happened. But they like to make this whole thing like the Knicks are kicking out. First of all, it's not the Knicks. Let's keep it. This is a Big East tournament. So it was this MSG. This had literally
they just rented the place, right? So it's not like
yeah, exactly, exactly, Andy.
It's that
Knicks for clicks again. It's that Knicks for clicks.
Right.
You know what upsets me though, Sim, is that look, right? Patrick Ewing, and this is the only thing I didn't like about what Patrick Ewing did was Patrick Ewing, you just upset Villanova. Your Georgetown has underperformed under you. This was a big win.
A huge win.
A huge win. And we're not talking about the players in Georgetown right now. We're not talking about those guys that are working hard every day to get better, that upset Villanova. We're talking about Patrick Ewing.
Well, I think he meant it, kind of as a joke a little bit, but
he did. But it's just that the media.
The transcript doesn't have emotions right in it,
right?
So
exactly.
Clyde Frazier, but
Clyde Frazier.
He talked about it last night.
He said it last night. He said, "I got to walk around with a Clyde Frazier sign on my chest." So.
But Sid, did you see Mike Breen didn't want to talk about it? Mike Breen was cracking up, but he didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah. But anyway, man, I'm out of here, guys. I appreciate you guys for jumping in.
I was enjoying this. I just want to bust on
I know,
more, man.
I got you know, I got a couple things I got to get to.
Kev gotta relax. Kev gotta relax, man.
Kev, just for my last word, Kev, I just want to thank you for spoiling The Godfather 3 for me.
But I didn't spoil it yet now.
He didn't spoil it, but yeah.
Hey, Legion, you got anything going on tonight?
Yeah, we just going to be talking about basically the same things. Talk about the game last night, talk about OKC, talk about some trade news like you guys are actually doing here tonight, and then also talk about the tournament as well.
You think we can win tomorrow?
Well, Kev, can you watch the show first before we can you get a show first?
Yeah. You know, you can like, you know, you can ask him on his show so that way, you know.
Absolutely.
You come and actually support the show, Kevin.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what, Gilmore? As your brother.
What do you think? I won't be on tonight at all. But
as Gilmore, as your brother, you are absolutely right, and I greatly apologize. I'm going to get on your show more. I can come on like this, right? I ain't talking to you, Gilmore. I greatly apologize. I'm going to get on your show.
It's okay.
All right. I'm going to. I'm also going to watch a game. I've never watched a game with you. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch a game. I
told you it's going to be his first time on the Legion of Knicks.
Yes, and I'm going to be honored to get on there too.
He did come once when he couldn't get on Sim Show for the draft. He came in on my Scrappy show like, oh,
that's true. I saw you on there. Yes, I'm going to. But I'm going to get on your show. I got to be a bigger brother, man. I got to be.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, but sometimes we can't get into Club 40, man. You got to go to one of the.
Yeah, you got
to go.
Oh,
man.
You can't get into Club 40, man. You got to get to one of the low clubs, man.
Gamma, what time you start tonight?
I'll be on at 8, and I'll be using OBS. So if it turns off, I apologize, guys. But
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all. One last
I'll see you out tonight.
Big shout out to Ian Clark. He said, big up to you. I appreciate you, man. Big up to you. Everybody out there. Yeah, Josh, we about to get off, man. We about to head off. We've been on for a couple hours now. About to get up out of here. Got some other things to do. All right, so now they're talking about you in the background now, Josh. They're talking about you in the background now. You know, come get them. Anyway, we're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys. Peace.